Sanibonani babukeli emakhaya, igama lami uThozana Ngema from Ubuntu Move and Entertainment with the team TMC. On the show brought to you by Sivananda on a piece of foundation. So stay tuned. I'll be speaking to the guest. Nina benkoshana kamenze yaphuza umlaza ngameva, nina bendlondlo enophapho ekhanda, nina baka bhejane ephuma esiqiweni, sithi siyabingelela enhla nasenzansi. Igama lami uThozana Ngema. Namhlanje ngihlezi ke nentokazi la eshowini enhle kakhulu, heritage and culture, where we looking at how we identify ourselves and how do we understand heritage and culture. So sihlezi ke namhlanje naye ke uCassandra. This show is brought to you by Sivananda Peace Foundation. Sawubona sis.
Sawubona Budishate. Sanibonani mabukeli emakhaya.
Uyaphila?
Ngikhona wena njani?
Ubani uCassandra?
Cassandra is a 20-year-old from Richards Bay, doing her second year at the University of Zululand studying psychology. She's also an entrepreneur.
Wow. Nice one. Siyabonga kakhulu. Namhlanje sibuka nje wazi waqoka kahle. Yo.
Ngibonge ngomzulu.
Manje ngifisa ukwazi ukuthi njengoba uqoke kahle kanje, ungathini nje mhlambe kumuntu osekhaya who don't understand indlela oqoke ngayo, just to explain briefly ukuthi ubuhlalo lobo buqokile, mhlambe can you explain anything about i-attire lo ifakile namhlanje?
Ngoba la ekhaya kusekhaya, it's heritage and culture, right?
Yes.
I decided to show up like this, and I'm showing up as umZulu. I'm showing up as intokazi yakaZulu. I'm embracing a culture yami, ngiveza ubumina, ngiveza the colors that I have on have different definitions, aveza different qualities about abaZulu. So I decided to show up as umZulu, ngiveza ubumina, khona mhlawumbe nomunye osekhaya, because now I really feel like thina futhi njengentsha we've lost who we are. Silahlekele ukuthi singobani, silahlekele ase understanding isho culture yethu. I just really feel ukuthi umuntu osekhaya who's watching me naye anga inspiration ekuthenini naye to show up as umZulu, aveza ukuthi umZulu and abaZulu basakhona and abaZulu basebahle ngoba nami ngimuhle.
Wemntana umuntu awuyelele ngithanda ubuhle bakho.
Amen.
Uyabona ke uqedile uCassandra ngoba esegeqe amagula ukusitshela ukuthi ngempela kubaleke ngani ukuthi ube umZulu. Ngelinye ilanga ukhona umunye umuntu owakwangibuza, and it was a debate. So kodwa ngazi ukuthi wena mbuke lapha sekucabanga kanjani. Ngizobuza ke lo mbuzo kuyena uCassandra uthina ngokunderstanda kwakhe. Cassandra, awumtshela why? Because siyazi phela ukuthi esikhathini sanamhlanje ingane engangawe siqoka amabhlukwe, ziyenza ama-weave. So why when you decide ukufika wearing like this?
Ngithi mina ngoba ngila ubhuti angibizile, we're speaking about culture and heritage.
Yeah.
And I really feel like, no offense to Western cultures, I really feel like as blacks we have adopted a lot of Western cultures and we've lost ourselves. A lot of young girls my age don't even understand why we have to wear our heritage costumes and all of that. I really felt like it's very important for me to show up like this in an invitation like this one, and I really hope that I'm inspiring someone that's watching at home that we should really show up like this, because I really feel cute in this. I really feel like my great-grandmother, and it's very important to embrace who we are and remember who we are, because it's in Abazu. at the end of the day, singawagqoka amabhluko, we can wear weaves, no offense to that, but we should always remember who we are and where we come from. And especially because it's Heritage Month, let's embrace ourselves like never before, because let's use this month to our priority, because we don't do this for February, we don't do this on March, we don't do this on whatever month. Let's do this kule nyanga sibe bahle siqhakaze.
Hayi, uyishaya esikhonkosini. Sesikhuluma esikhathi eside, ngicathi ake sithi ukubamba nje kancane isiphuzo sehlise intokazi ngoba phela kwazise it's a heritage month. Mbukeli lapho ngasekhaya njengoba wazi ukuthi sihlezi nje la sihlalele nosisi wethu Cassandra. Mhlawumbe sengibuyela nje kuyena sengizothola ukuthi mhlambe sesiya ngasemaphethelweni because ngifuna nokwazi ukuthi ke mhlambe usisi Cassandra ungathini ngekho social cohesion mhlambe umubuka nje wena, what can you say about social cohesion?
With my understanding, ngithanda ukuthi nginamanise i-social cohesion to us being referred to as a rainbow nation. A rainbow is created with various colors that have various qualities, and ayenza those colors, of which okusho ukuthi there's red, we have violets. Lama colors, they work together, they're cohesive, keeping the function yokwenza i-rainbow ne. And by this ngisho ukuthi nathi as South Africans kumele kubokuthi mina as red mhlambe ngumZulu and mhlambe we have an Indian, let's refer to Indians as violet. Kumele sisebenzisane ekuthenini sikhipha i-rainbow. Akaze ngenzeka after a storm kubokuthi we seeing a rainbow and red didn't show up, because red didn't show up because now red uzizwa ngazuthi it is better than violet. They all work together ekuthenini bekhiphe red. That's why bekhiphe i-rainbow. That's why thina si enjoy the sight of i-rainbow, which gives us hope. So what I mean by this ukuthi thina as South Africans we should be cohesive, sisebenzisane ekuthenini in workplaces, in businesses, yonke indawo kuba ukuthi siyasebenzisana, afika red, afika orange, sisebenzisane, sihlangane, sibe into eyi-one. Let's not do it for us, but let's do it for the next generations. Mele bebukele kuthini ukuthi in 2030 mele bephathane kanjani yabo, because now ngibona ngazuthi wonke umuntu akasenendaba, wonke umuntu wenza ngendlela yakhe, akanandaba nokuthi abantu bazothini. And ngiyazi ukuthi abantu abaningi abanendaba nokuthi abantu bazothini, but as enyaweni zethu indlela zethu esihamba sibuye sikhumbule ukuthi there is another person yabo, ukuthi wena uzokwenza into just ecindezela omunye umuntu, ungabi nandaba nokuthi omunye umuntu uzizwa kanjani ngalo ndlela. Asiphumeni lapho, akaze ngenzeka ukuthi ured uthi wona namhlanje mina ngifuna ukuthi ngiu-red but I want to have a spike of violets because ngizizwa ngazuthi ngingcono kuno violets. Let's do asibe nobuntu, let's work together. Asakheni iSouth Africa right, asakheni iSouth Africa ezophila in the next century. Singayibulali manje sibolelele abazukulu bethu ngoba ngemngaka nami sazoba nabazukulu.
Wow.
Shuthi sizophila bazophila ezweni elifile elibulawe yimina ngo-2020, bona befika ngo-2050, bafika izwe lethu lifile, bafika asizwani, bafika siyabulalana. We are over that, sidlulile lapho. Let's work now, let's asebenzisaneni. Learn to accept another person's culture, learn to accept another person's language. Ungamhleki omunye umuntu just because yena ukhulume yabo.
Ngiyakuthola.
Yeah,
thank you so much man. Yazi ukuthi you've touched a very serious point on when you mentioning indaba ye rainbow, because indeed rainbow means unity. That's why Sivananda World Peace Foundation is doing this quite nice show. Thank you so much for the opportunity, because not a lot of the foundations that are doing such thing where they promoting unity in diverse. So I think we need to give them a round of applause.
A big round of applause because again, this show is going to be, it's going to be online. So even umuntu ona 5 namhlanje, I'm sure when they're 15 they're going to see this.
They still gonna see it,
Yes,
for
and
sure.
for sure mhlambe we are inspiring them ukuthi accept another person, give a smile to the next person, because you never know ukuthi omunye umuntu ubhekene nani. You know, giving a smile to umuntu could change their day, could make them see the world in a positive way just because you gave them a smile. So it's
So
yeah.
what are your last words? Umuntu otimae bugu Cassandra. I also think you are a model.
Yes.
So umuntu bugu Cassandra as a model, as an entrepreneur, we are jail. What can be the message that you give it to our viewers at home?
Ngiyayithanda into esho uthi ayi unjani?
We are jail Cassandra.
Amen. Izona zonke izinto bengizama ukuzisho ukuthi we should accept the next person. Just because I believe that modeling and entrepreneurship is my way forward, is my way to financial freedom. That shouldn't trigger you in any way. That shouldn't give you audacity yokungitshela ukuthi mina ngiyayitshela. Nawe do your way and nami ngizo accept indlela yakho, nawe accept yami. So asifundeni uacceptana, asifundeni ukuphathana kahle kube right. Ungayigxeka into yomunye umuntu.
Ayi uqedile ungethole. Siyabonga kakhulu umbuke lapho ngasekhaya. Siyaqeda ke siyagoqa njengamanje. We thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned because we're coming back with another one. Kama la mtuzana Ishwar Ngema. Madoda kusho mina 247 matshela umgwaqo omkhulu mashiso mayitsa monke anezamfisa uphadima kayi1 swa ha uyabona ke wabantu abangamazi ke uyena kuthokozane uShix wakangema kathi hlezi ke la kwi On The Move and Entertainment broadcasting live kwi social media yethu ke kanti ke inyanga yethu le iHeritage Month la sibuka khona ukuthi iHeritage neCulture ihlangana kanjani. Sise studio ke namhlanje sihlezi naye ke umfo umpendulo uyaphila photha
ngiyathokozana
Sivananda World Peace Foundation sisinikeze i-platform yokuthi sikwazi ukuzokhuluma ngezinto ezithinta iculture and heritage. So mfethu ngifisa ukwazi ukuthi i-understanding yakho ngempela kwe-culture ne-heritage imiphi?
yeah nakuba ngisewumuntu omncane
Yeah, ngiyakubona.
kuncane kakhulu engikwaziyo nge-culture ne-heritage but kubalekile. And also I need to know ukuthi I'm not pro culture nor am I pro heritage, but ngiyafisa ukunderstand ukuthi ngampela ama-China aphila kanjani, ama-India aphila kanjani, abelungu. So I think look in terms of culture and heritage lokho okuchaza i-culture and heritage mina.
Yes,
I'm not so much of ukuthi amaZulu kufanele phile kanjani because ubaba umXhosa umama umZulu. So
Wow.
uyabona ukuthi
yeah,
kufanele ngistrike balance
Yeah.
between Xhosa culture,
Yeah.
Zulu culture. So at the same breath, ngiyafisa ukunderstand the Indian culture, ngiyafisa ukunderstand the Chinese culture, ngiyafisa ukunderstand abelungu baphila kanjani. So ufuna uexplore. Though ngithena I'm not pro culture,
Yeah.
but I'm really pro exploring izinto ezinyehlukile.
in South Africa we've got 11 languages. How many you think you can speak? Okay,
Yabo?
try.
So I can speak English. Okuyinto common.
Yeah.
I can listen to a little bit of Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Not if I have big.
Can you proud Africans?
Hey,
They can
big.
Ineta big.
So
Afrikaans.
Afrikaans, isitswana can listen to it. Ngiyakwazi ukuhlalela yabo. So ngiyawuthanda umbuzo wakho because uphosa lento lena engisenokhuluma ngayo yokuexplore other cultures. So language being part of it.
Yeah.
Food being part of it.
Yeah.
I'm interested in eating bani chow, of which is an Indian dish.
Yes.
I'm interested to lokho kozulu osuna nani into vele
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah,
yona
yeah,
yabo.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when it comes to heritage and culture, to me it means nje exploring
Yeah.
other cultures. Nakuba explore ama cultures kungakhulumi ngempela to go deep mhlawumbe izinto zama ancestors nani food on its own.
Yeah.
Explore culture.
Abanye they understand noma mhlambe they exploring their culture with music, dance,
Exactly.
and so forth. So when I'm in our culture or in Xhosa culture, can you mention anything about music or dance in that culture specific?
Yabo, you see how lost we are when it comes to culture.
Yeah.
Much of an interest in terms of the
Music,
Xhosa dance and whatnot.
yeah.
I'm open to anything.
Yes.
Well, I can't even dance for that matter. But in terms of music, I listen to every music, whether it's English, whether it's your. Sometimes you can be surprised. Your African music, though you can't listen to anything about show, but you can jam to it.
Yeah.
Find yourself and also enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Because Nama also like rock music, so which is Africans.
So to us, culture and heritage, I think it revolves as time. Maybe that's the word I was trying to look for.
Yeah.
It revolves. I was born in 94.
Yeah.
Of which isikhathi sesithe ukuhamba manje izinto sezimore modern.
Yeah.
So ngasukuthi culture esiphila kuyona manje it's no longer the same as the one of the other generation.
Yes.
So I like to believe ukuthi to me culture and heritage has to revolve.
Wow.
As isikhathi sihamba.
Omunye umuntu uzothi yabona ngeke ngize ngixaka ngalento yo culture no heritage. Why fanele ngize ngixake ngayo? Mhlawumbe what's the message that you can send to that person mhlambe ongenandaba nje?
Well, akufanele ngaphela singabi nandaba completely with the culture and heritage because for me I'm pro tourism.
Yeah.
And as much as we heritage month it's also tourism month.
Yes.
So one of the things in tourism worldwide is culture and heritage because people travel from Europe to Africa to discover African culture.
Yes.
I would like to travel from South Africa to China to India to discover their culture.
Yes.
So that's on its own. That things to preserve culture as much as it's modern, and I'm not apologetic about being modern and not knowing anything or keeping culture to that extent.
Yeah.
But I'm pro preserving culture. Hence, in my museum, culture is protected.
At least let's know the basic.
Exactly.
Mfowethu athina wakho mhlambe okuvala amagama njengoba sesiphetha nje inyanga ye heritage.
We need to explore our own culture to start off with. We need to explore other people's culture just so we can be tolerant amongst each other because I can't be tolerant when I understand what the hell is going on now in the culture. So I think we just need to explore.
Explore as in usuyishaya manje ngale language yakwa tourism.
Go to the museums, find out culture because that's what the museums are for.
Yes.
For us to get into the space of other people's culture. Comfort zone yethu environment esiyijwayele sibuze kwabanye abantu benza kanjani bona yabo.
Yeah, to mention that nje nami information or background yethu thina bakwa Dlokovu bengazi ukuthi ayikho eSouth Africa but ikhona kwamanye amazwe. That's a topic for another day. Siyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi sakho mfethu. Igama lami uThozane ke nguShakes Ngema. That's we're coming to the end of the show namhlanje. Sibonga kakhulu lapho mbukela nasekhaya ukuthi uhlale nathi sithi nje ungapheli amandla ungapheli moya. Please go and follow us on social media on The Move and Entertainment TMC Streaming, and also don't forget to follow Sivananda World Peace Foundation. I'm signing out. Sanibonani babukele emakhaya igama lami uThozana Shakes Ngema from On the Move and Entertainment with the team. TMC on the show brought to you by Sivananda Foundation. So stay tuned and speaking to the guest. Benkeshana kamenzi yaphuza umlaza ngameva nina bendlondlo enophapha ekhanda nina babhejana iphuma esiqiwini igama lami uThozana nguShakes Ngema ngiyanibingelela enhla nasenzansi ngithi ke sanibonani ababukelayo all who are watching now again it's your boy Shakes Ngema on the show called Heritage and Culture. Today we are here. This show is brought to you by Sivananda World Peace Foundation. And I'm with the founder of the Sivananda World Peace Foundation. That is it.
Sawubona. Mandlokov. Amba kanjani?
Ngiyaphila ndaba.
Sure.
Ngicela uthathe umbukeli lapha ngasekhaya umbeke ukuthi ubani uIshwar uMabheka Zulu.
Ishwar Ramlutchman Mabheka Zulu is a South African of Indian origin. When we go back and look at Mabheka Zulu, it has come from His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini Siloskulu, King Goodwill Zwelithini Kabeko Zulu, the king of the Zulu nation, who has honored me with giving me a name because of the humanitarian work that I've been doing in KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa at large. So we feel honored when we get a name from a Zulu king, especially from another culture. It says to us that we have a lot of responsibility as citizens of our country. So yes, Mabheka is to watch over the people of KwaZulu-Natal, and merely our presence are just that.
You've got such a fruitful background of inhaling the culture and the diversity. I can see Uguti, you also like Isintu, but you are Indian. Where is it coming from?
Mandlagovu, I must say that, when I go back, my life, I grew up in Gwaduguza, and we grew up amongst communities, and communities which represent our democratic values, which was then in the early 70s, 80s, was practiced in various corners of our country, but never was highlighted because of the then apartheid. And when we look at where we have come from, we live side by side with the Zulu communities. We shared our joys, sorrows with them, and that's how I took up engaging with the Zulu culture at KwaDuguza. Every 24th of September, the Heritage Day is celebrated at the gravesite of King Shaka, Ilembe Kamalembe in Ngokhalipa. That's where I first seen by it Hlangalo Mhlabati when I was at a very early age of 11 years. And that's how it all began. And it continued, and we've served my master Sri Swami Sahajananda in the Divine Life Society. where he was building a lot of schools for the rural communities. And that's where I was in charge, and I had to go amongst the communities, learn how to serve them. Because my master, Sri Swami Sivananda, preached that we must always serve others in order to get happiness. Make others happy, so in turn our happiness is received. And automatically this continued, and the spirit of Ubuntu filtered in. And we've went to deep rural communities. We've went even with other communities, not only the Zulu communities, the Indian community, the white community, the colored community. So, but my life was mainly drawn towards the Zulu culture and the Indian culture. And when I look back, it was all God's doings, because today, if we look back, I guess God wants us to bring people together, and we really need to practice this.
Yeah. Mapek, can you tell us more about Sivananda World Peace Foundation? Where is it coming from?
Madlagovu Sri Swami Sivananda was a great saint that hailed in India, in the banks of Rishikesh, in Uttar Pradesh. He had this yearning to serve humanity, and he created the Divine Life Society, which is established all over the world with the headquarters based in India. And Swami Sivananda had followers throughout the world. And here in South Africa, we were very fortunate to have Swami Sajananda, who's dedicated his life to continue the mission of Swami Sivananda here in South Africa. And that is where, from a very young age, we joined the Divine Life Society, and we continued from at a very young age. And that's how we learned the spirit of Ubuntu. It was at a very early time of my life when we learned how to serve people, and you serve without expectation. And when we go back and look at the life and teachings of Swami Sivananda was very clear with his universal teachings, and his universal teachings was very practical, to serve others, to love, to be good, do good, to make others happy. Now, when we practice all these things, and automatically this environment that we are in, automatically he is blessed, because we are basically doing what God expects us to do. And Swami Sivananda, through Swami Sajananda, has really done so much here in this country. And we as devotees, we continue the mission of Swami Sivananda. And the Sivananda World Peace Foundation was launched by His Holiness Swami Vimalananda, who was the president of the Divine Life Society in Rishikesh, who is late now. And that's how I got to continue the work of Swami Sivananda. So today, when we look at what we are doing, it is a great responsibility, and we need to bring people together. And when we bring people together, all what we must remember is that to remain humble, because we are only there to serve God's people. As long as we understand that we are serving God's people, then only there's no expectations. Yeah. Because today, with challenges in society, there's a lot of greed, there's a lot of envy. So as long as we cling to God and carry His mandate, then only whatever happens will happen by His will, and whatever is to happen will still happen by His will. So when we look at the peace initiatives, I've been putting peace pillars all over the country in various towns, and it was supported by our government, His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini, and various political leaders, religious leaders, institutions, communities that supported me. I put up almost 17 peace pillars already, and it has been also being part of the our heritage of the country. These pillars create this universal love and a common ground for people to come together, because there's sayings from every religion on there. There's sayings from that really create the universal love which is inscribed on there. So when we look at these peace pillars and it's the initiative that we have taken, we have really seen a lot of communities come together. We celebrate their heritage and we unveil these peace pillars. One thing I must stress, that KwaZulu-Natal has been ravaged by a lot of political violence, and these pillars brought together the coming together of various cultures, celebrating heritage and culture at one venue. We also had politicians from various political parties attend, religious leaders, the Christian community, the Muslim community, the Hindu community, so the Nazareth Baptist Church, all came together at one venue, highlighting the spirit of oneness.
Yeah.
So if we look where we are heading, so these are steps that the Sivananda World Peace Foundation have taken just to bring people together and create what King Beguzulu wanted: one heart, one nation.
Can you please tell us more about how to get all these big people? We've seen you with King Goodwill Zwelithini, Inkosi Ubayete, the Zulu king of nation, and we've seen you with late former president Nelson Mandela, and then we've seen you with Utingo, we've seen you with Unyazi Lwezulu. How do you get close to these people?
Well, Mantlogovo, it's a good question. All I can say is that it's through the grace of God that we are able to meet all great leaders, and through our humanitarian efforts. When it comes to the Nazareth Baptist Church, we go a long way. When the early days at Kupu, outside Eskawini, when a child was bitten by a crocodile, and upon hearing that, I immediately contacted BV Mtetwa at that time, in the early 90s, and we went out to Kupu, and that's when it was my first time to meet Utingo Nkosazana, the leader of the Nazareth Baptist Church at that time. And then from there we got my Swami Sahajananda to build the baptismal center at Nelisiwe in Port Dunford and at Ebuhleni. So from there we've started meeting His Holiness Utingo Nkosazana. And as we went on, I was very attached to the hymns of the Nazareth Baptist Church and the people and the culture, because what I must say that the Nazareth Baptist Church, the principles behind it, when Shembe always speak, he spoke of people need to take care of the environment. They need to take of all God's creation, the water, mainly the sea. Don't pollute the areas. So with all these principles and values that the Nazareth Baptist Church stand for, it taken me back, and that's how I clinged on to them and became very good friends to the church. And also we always continue to have services with the church. Every year Unyazi Lwezulu come to my place and we have a service for the entire day in Mpangeni. And for me, that is all ordained by God, because when we look at such a great leader like Unyazile Zulu, the leader of the Nazareth Baptist Church, coming to me and sharing this oneness, this one platform with the Nazareths to share in God's word, it says a lot, because only through God's grace these things are achieved. We don't know what is our future, but all that I can say is that God used us at a certain time, just as He used certain people at a certain time to make a change in society. Yes, we'll be criticized by the communities, we'll be criticized by our very own people, but we must never lack our focus in continuing to do God's work, because when we look at culture and where I fit in with all these leaders, I'm a Hindu. I practice my Hindu culture very steadily, and one thing the Hindu religion teaches us to embrace all religions, because the universality of love belongs to every religion and every human being. So when we look at all these principles of my master and the scriptures of the Hindu culture, it's very similar to all other religions, and that's how I'm able to adapt, adjust, like my master said, accommodate, and people must be patient. Today people don't want to sit, and I must say, going to the Nazareth Baptist Church services, it take one a lot of courage to be there, to take your kanzi and sit and really enjoy the service. But if your mind is not in that direction, it's going to be very difficult. So it all boils down to what speakers have mentioned in the programs, that people must have tolerance. And when tolerance come in, then we'll be able to adapt ourselves, adjust, and we must love what we do. If you feel that, no, that particular culture is too much for you, but you must be able to engage, have a taste of it, and understand it. Not necessarily you join or you be a fanatic of it. My belief is very clear, is that people have the choice, and living in South Africa, it's so beautiful because we have so many choices. We have such a beautiful country. We have cultures, we have heritage, we have the Zulu nation, we have the Ndebele clan, we have the Amapondo, we have Indians, we have Coloureds, Khoisan, we have so much of heritage. And when we look at KwaZulu-Natal in particular, we look at King Shaka Kasenzanga Khona, the Zulu nation, where King Shaka himself wanted one nation, one united nation. And when we look back, even the Indians, when they came in 1860 to the shores of Durban, at that time, King Cetshwayo embraced the Indians, and Indians came as laborers to work on the sugarcane fields, and from there they even came with their culture. And that is how I'm able to continue and uplift and uphold my Indian tradition, because of my forebears. Because wasn't for them, when they came here to South Africa, they had the choice whether to continue their culture or in a foreign land to let it go, but they upheld it, and that's what we are today. And we give thanks to our forebears, because they have made us understand that we must live amongst people. And if King Cetshwayo at that time accepted the Indian people who have come as slaves, indentured laborers here, who virtually had nothing, they never came with just whatever clothes they had, that's all. And now we look at the Rainbow Nation, and when we really look at it from afar, we must be able to enjoy that Rainbow Nation, and we must be able to enjoy it together.
Okay, I feel honored to be next to you, because the people you've been with, the way you came from far when you're telling me that this started while you were 11 years old, and now you've been honored recently, and congratulations. So please tell us more about your honors, on what based on. Is it a professor or is it a doctorate?
Yabonga Mandla. You see, when it comes to honors and all these accolades throughout my life, we always dedicated to my divine master Sri Swami Sivananda, because wasn't for his grace, all these things won't be there, because ultimately he have taught us to serve humanity and serve humanity with one heart. And obviously people tend to acknowledge the work, and when people tend to acknowledge the work, you be honored, and part of the work that we do also globally, because I am the executive vice president for Gopio International, a global organization of people of Indian origin, where we have chapters throughout the world, and we look at the plight of the Indian people in various countries, and if we go back and we look at Fiji, Suriname, Mauritius, South Africa, all these countries, Indians came as indentured laborers, and some, like the Caribbean, they came as slaves. So when we look back, when we see that our forebears had nothing, but they were very humble, and we must continue to remain humble, because all these accolades, awards will come. Recently I've been honored with the honorary doctorate and honorary professorship by the National School of Theology in association with the Los Angeles Institute of...
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm very humbled. You are inspiring a lot of young people who are watching at home at the moment as we speak. Maybe some will say, but I'm coming from a background where my mother was working in the kitchen, so I couldn't make it. What is the inspiration, or what is the motivation that you can give it to someone who thinks I'm not gonna make it?
Well, Mandlogovu, what you see here sitting in front of you, 25, 30 years back, if I go back, I come from a very poor home, and barely we could really make a living. My mom, my dad worked hard to ensure that we get our metric, and in 1993 I came to Empangeni, and I walked every street looking for a job for almost 6 months. I've been to Matubatuba, Richards Bay, and eventually I got a job as a driver in Matubatuba. And mind you, I know the pains of not having money, and even having money in your hand, it is got to be used sparingly. You got to send money home to ensure that they know that you are also okay. So when we look at the youngsters out there, never despair, because we also put paraffin in the lamp. We also learned under a tin roof. I come from that background. I come from a background of having a pit toilet. Sometimes we used to use the nearby bushes. That's how we lived. Whether you like it or not, we got to be proud and say that where we have come from and where we are today is all through the grace of God. Because once you forget the struggles of your parents, there were times we will use candles while we studying. We will share the candle amongst my siblings, and that's how we lived. And my message to the youth: whatever background you come from, their hardship, you must know ultimately the buck stops with you. and only you can decide what's your next move.
Wow.
And you got to decide that I have a vision, and you got to try to achieve it. I have so many friends here in Ampangeni. I've become, so much attached to some of my friends out here, and mainly in rural areas, in Mandlankala, Pumlani Banda, in Ongoye, Lindiwe Dube, 3 Second, Ngonyana at Dlangubo. And if we look at all my friends that live in rural areas, I don't feel shy to make a trip to go visit them, because ultimately when we look at each other, we look at each other as a brother and sister. And more especially Mandlogovu, if we have to look at who we are basically nothing. We are just a drop in the ocean. But what we create, and mainly create for others, determine our future. Because if we are selfish and create things only for ourselves, we can pray, go to church regularly, go to temples regularly. It won't be of much assistance, because people need to understand that you create wealth, you disseminate wealth, you serve the poor, you got to do these things. That's why every religious institution encourages charity, because when you do charity is ultimately you basically helping your own soul to go closer towards God, because you feel, once people do charity, you feel that oneness with one another. So coming back to heritage and culture, when we have to dissect this whole thing, all these hardships of people, you got to still continue to maintain and uplift your culture, because we have so much of heritage.
Yes. Okay. Mapek, there is this culture of you associating with the Zulu kingdom. Bayete. How does this, because you told us that you've been embraced by the kingdom, Zulu nation, Kutwili, that Mazulu. That was the way that he gave it to you. How do you embrace it?
Mandlogovu, first fanele sikhuleka silo bayethe hlangalo mhlabathi selo sikhulu ubhetshani phuma siqiwini zulele phezulu bayethe wena ubishop Khalo
bayethe.
So His Majesty, really, for me, is this oneness that I look at in KwaZulu-Natal. You look at people all over the world, all over the country, all over Africa. They come to His Majesty.
Yeah.
And if I go back and look at the heritage monument that I put in 2018, highlighting the peace that prevailed over KwaZulu-Natal after 1994, when I put up the bust of His Majesty and Nelson Mandela, highlighting the peace initiative of Bayete, that reminds me that we need to continue what they have done.
Yes.
And when constantly I've been in the presence of His Majesty, we looked at the cultural barriers in society. And obviously, me being so much into the Zulu culture, I embraced it fully, and I can tell you, I enjoy Isandlwana, the 1879 commemoration, the function that takes place at Ilembe, commemorating King Shaka, the Kosi Ilembe, Koso Mhlanga, Kosi Oselwa, Kosi Amaganu. So all these festivals of the Zulu nation, I don't miss any of these functions.
Can I request you to please take me through when you're going to meet with Bayete and Unyazi. Please, I'm requesting.
No problem, Mandagovu.
So you telling them live
Yeah.
that you're gonna take me through to go and salute Bayete, King Zwelithini.
No problem. You see, every Zulu, every citizen of our country must appreciate that we have a king.
I really want to go.
And we all must be able to appreciate his work and salute him, because if we do not do these things, then we'll be failing in our duty as citizens. And also, he's a custodian of the Zulu culture.
Yes.
So how can we promote Zulu culture and not appreciate the custodian of the Zulu culture? Bayete has really stood out as number one in the world when it comes to culture. Was single-handedly, since the 80s, he started Mkhosi Umhlanga. And Mkhosi Umhlanga, at that time, long before even HIV and AIDS came about, Bayete already predicted and started in the 80s promoting Mkhosi Umhlanga, the Royal Reed Dance Festival. Of course, the name Bayete is very clear. It's Umkhosi Umhlanga, so we leave it at that. And you look at after 90s how HIV and AIDS was a pandemic across our country and Africa at large. But I can tell you, if it wasn't for Bayete's intervention and also circumcision, it was Bayete who started these things, and credit need to be given to him. And when we talk of Heritage Month, we must salute our living heritage, and that's him, Silos Kolu Bayete Hlangalom Tlhabati. He is our living legend at the moment, and people will say, "Alo muntu uyahlanya, njalo ukhuluma ndaba silo, ndaba uhlangana naye." But go back and dissect it, and then you'll understand what I am saying. If you're a Zulu, surely you have a heritage where you come from, and Zulus have come from Nubia in North Africa. All this rich heritage need to be told. I'm really sad that up till today in our country that we don't have a Zulu historical museum, a Zulu historical museum. We have a 1860 Indian Heritage Museum in Durban, and you have various museums all over, but there's not a single museum that's only talking to the Zulu culture, the Zulu heritage, and where King Shaka Kasenzanga Kona come from. So we definitely have a problem.
Yes.
Some of the speakers spoke on education. And if you really look at education, these are the type of education that people need, where they come from. How can you not know where you come from and promote your culture? You know, so really, I'm very happy that we could come together as a community, as brothers and sisters, to really highlight social cohesion, unity in diversity, and mainly uplift the spirit of Ubuntu, because there are so many people that are doing things in their own way, by helping poor people in various ways. But even there, we all need to come together. And when we come together, then we understand who we are. And I'm very clear that throughout my life, I've been empowering a lot of youngsters, and mainly in rural areas. And when I go to rural areas, I must say and highlight one thing, that do not take people for granted.
Yes.
And I'll leave you with one thing that my master has taught me, that when you go to a rural area, some say, we'll go on the dirt road. It's a gravel road. That's what he has taught me. And when we travel on the gravel road, it's very important to witness and observe people walking on that road. Mandlagovo, it pains me to see people drive past people, raise the dust on them, don't care, no feeling. Even if you slow your vehicle down, that is still creating a spirit of Ubuntu. You are feeling
wow.
for the other person. You don't know where the person is going to get the water to have a bath that evening. Or you don't know where the person is going to and have to return in the afternoon. Can you imagine all that dust going onto the person? So unless we open our hearts, constantly look at the people as humanity, serve them, uplift the spirit of culture, heritage, appreciate each other's heritage, become part of each other. I am very clear. You asked me the question of my association. I am part and parcel. I will die part and parcel of Bayete and his nation. I will serve his nation. And, of course, the Indian community at large, the Khoi San community, the colored community, the white community, and various other African communities that have settled in our province of KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa. We need to understand that we are one and we have a major role to play, and embrace God, and success would be in the best interest of our country.
Thank you so much, Babeka,
Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
for your time. We really appreciate you. I think even at home, they are getting more inspired. I just want to say thank you even for the platform that you have opened for us. We really appreciate, because so many foundations are doing different things, but you've seen the gap, and then you have to feel it that we need to come and discuss our heritage, our unity. So thank you so much. God bless.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Okay. Buke lapho ngisekhaya sesifike egcineni ke kohlelo lethu njengamanje. Siyakwazi ukuthi ke sikutshela ukuthi ke lapho ukhona ungalokuthi usuke uhambe uye lapha ku Facebook page yethu On The Move and Entertainment and press like. Instagram, Twitter and Facebook TMC Streaming Team, ukwazi ukuthi ke uphinde uyolandela Sivananda Well Peace, ulandele Ishwar. Unawo ama Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what is it?
Sivananda World Peace Foundation. Just Google.
Okay.
Yeah, uzothola wonke into la.
Thank you so much. Yes, sesifika sekugcineni igama lami uThozane nguShekiswa Ngema. Up until the next time, stay tuned here. Ukwazi ukuthi upress button ngosilandela ku YouTube, siyatholakala emagameni amabili namathathu, welikayise nelendodana nelikamoya ongcwele.